I think the first challenge is that it's an unknown market to us. I mean, Sudan has been under sanctions for a very long time, for several decades actually. And the sanctions were just lifted very recently, a few months ago. So the challenge now is to go into a new market that has been operating in complete isolation from the rest of the world for quite some time, and having to learn how to navigate all these new laws which need updating. And Sudan has actually been updating several of its laws in the past few months. So there are many opportunities that we're going to have to grasp and deal with. But there are also, as you said, some challenges that we need to operate with. It's very vibrant, unlike what most people in Egypt think. Sudan is considered one of the tech hubs in Africa. The youth are extremely involved in the tech industry. Penetration of mobile phones is up at 75%. They're really active in the areas of web designs, app designs, etc. So I do believe that there will be a lot of work in this sphere. The challenge again is that unlike Egypt, that enacted several laws since 2018, we've enacted at least 5 or 6 laws that regulate different aspects of the tech industry. Sudan is still working on developing its legal system. So one of the challenges, to answer also your first question, is one of the challenges that we're dealing with is that we're dealing with modern technology, but we're applying old laws that have yet to develop. But we're confident that the coming months or a couple of years will witness several changes that will, would like to be a part of that change as well. It's very interesting. I mean, Sudan also just passed a new investment law last year. It's quite similar to Egypt's investment law. It offers very interesting typically modern protections that are offered to investors, including protections similar to the ones that we find in bilateral investment treaties, such as fair and equitable treatment, most favored nation national treatment. In addition to other incentives such as tax benefits, land grants. They created a one-stop shop similar to the one that we have in Egypt. So they're basically trying to make life a lot easier for foreign investors as well as local investors. The law is still new, it's fairly untested, so we still don't know how it's going to develop, but it's certainly better than the previous law that they had, for sure. It's still too early to predict. I mean, obviously the GERD issue is heavily politicized as far as Egypt is concerned. I mean, as far as Egypt is concerned, the whole issue revolves around the division of shares between states. As for the actual impact itself, it's still unknown. In Sudan, it's a bit different. The GERD will most likely affect the Blue Nile area, but Sudan relies on other sources of irrigation. So there are other rivers in Sudan. There's also seasonal rain, which are things that we don't have in Egypt. We rely exclusively on the Nile. So I don't think the impact of the GERD will be as negative on Sudan as it is on Egypt. Well, thank God for technology. We opened an office a few months ago. Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to spend time there due to the limitations that were imposed on us by COVID and the various states. They have all these entry requirements, so it was very difficult for us to relocate to Sudan at the moment. We do have a team of Sudanese lawyers who work with us on a daily basis. through different media of communication, whether it's Teams, Zoom, the phone, etc. So it's fully functional. The office is there. I manage it remotely with the help of my Sudanese partners. But we're hoping to increase our presence very soon. I mean, initially, we were planning to have a much more much larger representation of Egyptian lawyers in the office in Sudan as of last January. But due to some political events that took place towards the end of the year, we had to push this to June of this year. So hopefully by June, we'll have some of my colleagues here will relocate or will be splitting their time between here and Khartoum. Yeah. Sudan is a natural choice. I mean, Egypt and Sudan have very close ties. We have been meaning to go to Sudan for many years. Unfortunately, the sanctions precluded us from doing that. But unlike many firms, including Egyptian firms, who have an interest in expanding into the region by going to the GCC area and have the typical office in Dubai or Abu Dhabi or Qatar, etc., we're more interested in Africa. We have a presence in Ethiopia through a sister firm that we work with. Many of our lawyers have made the travel to Ethiopia on several occasions. We've worked on a major investor-state arbitration involving Ethiopia as well. And the Ethiopian example was great. Unfortunately, due to the tensions now between our respective states, we don't go as much. We hope that will change in the future. But now with the lifting of sanctions in Sudan, we're investing more of our time and effort and money into Sudan, especially since there are many Egyptians doing business there and vice versa. There are many Sudanese doing, the trade between both countries is quite important. So, we have other countries in mind. We'll disclose them later, but they're primarily in Africa. Well, I think the tension that young lawyers have to deal with is that the legal market has changed a lot. So what happens now is that firms expect you to specialize from your very first day. I don't like that. I think you can only be successful if you do something that you like, and it's very difficult for a 21, 22-year-old lawyers that just started their career to know exactly what they want to do.
It's true.
So I would tell them, learn from all the partners and more senior associates that you work with. If you're given any file, do it. Spend the first few years of your career exploring different options, and then you'll have a lot of time later on to specialize in the area that you like, and you'll definitely be successful if you do that.